Yo, what up, and welcome to Pnoid News. Man, listen, man, yo, look, let's talk about the gynocracy for a minute, all right? Because I'll be honest with you, I went to look at the news today that's standing like, hey, look, I got to put out content on a regular basis, so, I be checking stuff out. And the first thing I run into on Fox News is Gabby Petito disappearance. Protesters carry signs to home of Brian Laundrie urging him to speak with the police. All right, so all right, what happened here? Apparently, these two here took a trip across country and he came back without her, right? I'm not absolutely sure exactly what happened as far as things are concerned, right? But when he came home without her, he immediately, and everybody started going, where's she at? Where's she at? And started calling the cops and asking questions. He decided to hire a lawyer, right? So then protesters around him in particular, right? Female protesters and blue pilled individuals sat here and started protesting his home, saying that he should speak with authorities, right, and cooperate. Protesters gathered on Thursday at the Florida home of Brian Laundrie, who has retained a lawyer and refused to cooperate with authorities after Gabby Petito disappeared in the couple's cross-country trip late last month, according to police. Golf carts drove by the streets as protesters carried signs such as "Truth always comes out," "Justice for Gabby," "Northport loved Gabby," and would she bring you home? We're standing up for somebody who is lost in our city, and we're a big family in our city in Northport. And we're definitely going to do whatever we can to help the family find this missing daughter, one protester said Thursday. We all have children. If it was our child, we would want something to gather up and help us find our child too. So we're doing whatever it takes. All right, I'm not clicking on this. Another protest is being planned at the home, which belongs to Laundrie's parents Friday evening. Oh yeah. Here, look. The fucking gynocracy. The fucking gynocracy. Like, I swear to God, dude. Like, legit. So everybody's kind of wondering why it is that this individual standing here acting the way that he is, right? Because in the end of the day, there's things that people don't know they don't know. This is a story that happened in my neck of the woods, right down the road from where I'm at in West Hanover Township, not far from where I was born, to be perfectly honest with you. Right. And this is part 6 of this news breakdown of what happened. So I'll give you the basic facts. All right. This lady here is, I think, Jan Ewalt, right? Something along these type of lines. And she was murdered out back of her home. And from there, I'm going to take you to the story, right, of what happened after she was murdered. After being rousted from bed, handcuffed for 3 hours, and questioned until 5:30 a.m., Todd Ewalt was getting a break. With the morning sun now up, Todd, clad in a t-shirt, sweatpants, and slippers, could finally begin to grieve for his wife and be with his children. They had 2 children, both college age. Todd's first call was to his mother, Margaret, and her second to husband, Vince Morin, a retired cop and former journalist from New Jersey, now living in Tempe, Arizona. The couple booked the next plane for Harrisburg. State police wanted Todd to come to Troop H Barracks near Route 22 and 39 at 11 a.m. the next morning for more questions. After spending the night at a nearby motel, his house remained a crime scene. Todd arrived at the barracks 15 minutes early. He wouldn't leave until 9:45 p.m. What transpired was a complete dissection of his life, his personality, his finances, his marriage. Police drilled Todd on what they portrayed as a collapsing marriage. They argued that he and his wife had grown apart. She was taking trips without him. She was staying up late talking on the phone with other men. She was driving off for days, supposedly to deliver items that could have been shipped by Federal Express. Detectives showed Todd what they claimed was Darlene's divorce filing. It dawned on me it wasn't even her handwriting, Todd recalls. Next, they went after his bank account. He was a carpenter. Bills were piling up and work was spotty. Darlene must have resented being forced to toil in the couple's side business, handcrafting synthetic racing saddles to make ends meet, they told him. One of the secondary detectives even drew Todd a picture of the hooked, jagged knife edge the police believed was the murder weapon. It was as if they were saying, "We know you have one just like it somewhere." As police fired questions ranging from the couple's sleeping patterns to their sex life, Todd mostly kept his cool. But he couldn't win. One of the officers suggested that Todd was wrapped too tight and he must have snapped. Yet when Todd pushed back against some relentless police accusations, it was proof of something else. After a barrage of belittling his bank account, Todd defiantly pulled out his wallet and plucked out a thick wad of cash, nearly $1,200. He challenged anyone in the interview room to match the sum. We weren't rich, but we weren't in financial trouble, Todd says. The bills were paid. The investigators, Todd's flash of defensiveness was a glimpse of his deep-seated rage. If they could push his buttons so easily, perhaps an unhappy wife could cause him to go nuclear. Again and again, hour after hour, Todd denied murdering his wife. He even took a lie detector test. 45 minutes later, the detective returned and promptly informed Todd that he had failed it. Not knowing that the answer was lying, Todd shot back that the results had to be wrong. Either that or the machine wasn't working. To this day, he doesn't know the actual results. And by the way, when his wife was murdered, she was up at 2 a.m. on the patio having a conversation on the phone, and he was ass naked asleep in bed. And they came to get him. He was still ass naked, and they wouldn't give him a pair of pants for 3 hours. It was a stalemate, and it was back to square one. Another wave of the same basic question, couched in different words and new tones. After a round of goading, another officer would try sympathy. Accidents happen, Todd recalls one of the empathetic detectives saying, "We'll take care of everything for you. Just tell us what happened." I'm thinking, do you really think I'm that stupid? Right? For Todd, a fan of the documentary-style detective show, The First 48, it was all sounding very familiar. He realized police were pulling out all the stops to pin him as a suspect. Just stupid tactic, he said. They were throwing everything at the wall to see if it stuck. As the hours ticked by, Todd DeWalt's family, particularly his gruff-voiced stepfather, Vince Morgan, grew wary. The veteran journalist was well acquainted with the investigative techniques and interview tactics. He suspected that police were eyeing Todd for Darlene's murder, and he insisted, Darlene was her name, and he insisted other family members it was time to get Todd help. The family phoned an attorney. He's in there all those hours, Morin recalls. They went on, and they kept trying to pin it on him. Eventually, I said, get him a lawyer. We retained somebody on the spot. The newly hired lawyer first phoned the barracks to halt the questioning, but it wasn't until the attorney showed up the interrogation stopped. The long day of questioning was over, but the police pursuit didn't end there. According to DeWalt family members, the family home was searched a second time later that weekend. A police helicopter swooped low and snapped aerial photographs of the house and grounds. Officers and unmarked cars kept the House family under surveillance in the parking lot of Pavone's, a nearby restaurant. It's a good spot. Detectives repeatedly asked to speak with Todd, but he now insisted that all questions be funneled through his lawyer. A married female friend worried that Todd, who had lost 25 pounds during the ordeal, wasn't eating and decided to take him out for dinner and a movie. He prompted the police to question friends about Todd's girlfriend, even though a woman's husband knew all about the outing. To this day, the DeWalt family members are convinced that police informed Nick's college about his status as a suspect, as well as the steroids found in his bedroom. Nick was never charged for possession of drugs, but his football scholarship was revoked the following year. Marsico confirmed that by luring up Todd only piqued the interest of the investigators. And while Marsico said he wasn't privy, Marsico is the local district attorney, still wasn't privy to all the tactics used during the investigation, he doesn't doubt that the state police kept very close tabs on Todd and to a lesser extent Nick. I think cops by their nature, anytime someone gets an attorney, think that the person's guilty, Marsico explains. I got a little different slant on that, but not too much. Yeah, I mean, getting a lawyer immediately means you're guilty. Yet for all their questions, police still had nothing to go on. Not a shred of direct evidence linked Todd DeWalt to his wife's murder. And Todd now deflecting the interrogation, police needed another tact on their investigation, risk growing cold. Marsico had just the thing, one of the most powerful tools of prosecutors. The district attorney was preparing to impanel a grand jury with the full subpoena powers to probe Darlene DeWalt's murder. The grand jury would compel Todd and Nick to testify. True suspects could plead the fifth and refuse to answer questions directly implicating them in a crime, but they would be forced to answer other questions about relationships and finances. The grand jury would command phone records, banking information, credit card bills, and other private files. Most of all, the grand jury had the option of issuing presentment that could lead directly to the charges against Todd DeWalt and the murder of his wife. Slapping a grand jury subpoena on somebody is pressure, Marsico says. The clock was ticking for Todd DeWalt, but the time was also running out for several other women who happened to be in the path of a serial killer. So... this woman who's missing. Not dead, no body, nothing along these type of lines. Just missing. And the dude knows that she's missing. Maybe she ran off, whatever the case is. Maybe she met somebody while she was out there. Who knows what happened? He is fully under the understanding of what could happen, right? And being charged will ruin your life. This dude lost his job. His kid lost his scholarship. And this woman, eventually it was found that she was killed by a serial killer from a trucker at a local truck stop wearing a ninja suit. This is why I say this is a matriarchy, because there's been thousands of POWs and thousands of men who've been shot and killed, murdered, and no one cared this much. No one's ever really given a fuck this much. And they wouldn't, right? Ever. But like if it's somebody with a vagina between their legs, like they're just like, they'll pull out all the stops and destroy anything in their path to bring them to justice. That's how this works. And knowing this, knowing that, mentality is the reason why you just immediately lawyer up and you don't cooperate with shit. Just that's how things operate. Anyway. Yo, look, it's Tom Peace with Pnoid News, man. Y'all know how it works. Peace.